Well, it's midweek trading at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Let's join Temple at the markets for updates. Hello, Temple. Hello, Temple. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So what's the latest in today's trading activity?
I can hear you.
What's the latest in today's trading activity?
Things are really... So we had a day been bullish earlier, and market was up some 1.27%, and all of a sudden we started seeing some kind of depreciation in the key benchmark index, down now to some 0.05% to then between 0.05 and 0.01%. It looks like those gains are being eroded by some profit takers in the market. However, it might still inch up higher than this, since we still have less than 1 hour to the end of the trading day. We know that one of the main reasons why we've seen the gains in the index before now was simply because the consumer goods company, Guinness PLC, was up much higher than 9%. We also got uptick in custodian insurance that was up by more than 9%, 9.43% specifically. And of course, NEM Insurance, which is one particular company that a lot of investors have been watching, was equally up some 9.57%. So the bullish trend has been since we began this week, and it looks like it will eventually close positive. Dangote was up earlier, and then we saw a bit of the gains that we saw earlier also declining, being eroded, due to some profit taking. However, it's known that bargain hunting is currently in the market. A lot of people have seen low prices in the system, and they've been trying to take advantage of it. As we speak, Diamond Bank is now 2 naira 11 kobo, while compared to when it opened earlier, it was around 2 naira and just a few kobos. So now that a lot of the prices are inching higher, we've seen decline in a couple of orders as investors have taken a position, of course, taking profit. And so at the end of the day, before the market closes, we should still be able to see the bargain hunting sentiment, prevailing in the system.
Oh, okay. Is there any new development around the Forte Oil and C&I leasing?
Okay, so with Forte Oil, there was a statement issued to the stock exchange and earlier in the day, and it spoke about an extraordinary general meeting scheduled for sometimes in February. And of course, it's to get shareholders to deliberate on the divestment of the major shareholder in that company, that's billionaire Femi Otedola. And that is, of course, to be able to discuss and vote on the divestment of the upstream segment of that company, as well as the Gencos and the Discos segment of the company. These two key operations of the company, and a couple of other resolutions. But that is something that investors and traders here will continue to watch. And of course, that is one thing that will change the perception of investors going forward, whether they should buy or they should sell. As we speak, it hasn't changed. The share price is still at 28 naira. We've only seen some 275,000 units plus of its shares traded so far in the markets. If you take a look at CNI leasing, the stock exchange yesterday lifted the suspension on the company, and of course, the moment that happened, we saw some gains on it, some 9% gain on the company yesterday. That kind of sentiment hasn't resumed on the company as we speak. It's still trading at 9 naira 4 kobo, which is what it's traded at yesterday as investors, put more money on it. So today we've seen about 150,000 units of shares traded, still at 9 naira 4 kobo. And before the market closes, the game on this particular company might change. A lot of investors have seen the fact that once a reconstruction happens on a company, a lot of time it comes at a higher rate, and then subsequently you see it declining. So people will want to take advantage of this opportunity at a fresh stage at this point in time. before this week runs to an end, we might see the share price of CNI Leasing going much higher than this, and then before we don't see a kind of price correction on it going forward.
Temple, before I let you go, is there any other market news?
Well, investors are continuing to keep fingers crossed to see how things are going on. A lot of companies at this point in time have released notices to the stock exchange, beggar pains to inform the NSE of its closed period. You got a similar notice from Stanbic IBTC looking to converge its shareholders and directors basically to deliberate on some of the key metrics for financial year 2018 that just ended. You have a whole lot of other companies too declaring their closed period. Some are even modifying their closed period at this point in time. For example, Seplat yesterday made a notice to the Nigerian Stock Exchange explaining of an extension in its closed period. And so you will now see a kind of a meeting of the boards, the directors, happening 24 hours after that closed period. The new closed period now is February 28th, of course, 2019. And so this is something that a lot of traders here are waiting and watching to see how they can take position. You have Vitafoam. Vitafoam is also out there. A lot of investors have continued to buy into Vitafoam share price because of the dividend, which is also expected to elapse very soon. You know, people are also watching Access Bank and, of course, Diamond Bank. And that's, of course, due to the merger that is supposed to take place between these companies. And that, of course, if you look at how Diamond Bank has been trading in the market all day. Diamond Bank is up some 0.96%. Still the most actively traded company in the market. It's now doing 2 naira 11 kobo after investors have exchanged some 136 million units of its shares since the market commenced today. So you continue to see this form of reaction to the numbers that you're seeing in the market. Don't forget, these activities are basically forming some kind of a run-up to the general elections. And we know that a lot of the candidates that we have in the system for the presidential election have been making known their points to the public. I mean, this afternoon we heard from the PDP person who also unveiled his plans for the capital market. So traders, investors will generally continue to watch the space and will continue to take advantage of the kind of implication that their manifestos will have on the market.
All right, Temple, thank you so much for talking to us. Well, in Rwanda, refugees are gaining more ground in clean energy business. Anik Refuge fled Burundi in 2015 as a refugee, but has found a new home in Rwanda's capital where she can sell clean energy gas cylinders.
Roadside in downtown Kigali, this woman taking inventory is a success story for Rwanda's integration of refugees. It's a long way from home for Anik Iriwaku, who fled violence in Burundi in 2015 and arrived in Rwanda with practically nothing. But the 33-year-old was determined to get back on her feet and started up a small store selling clean energy gas cylinders. In a city known for being one of Africa's cleanest and greenest, business is going well.
I went into gas because I thought about it and I realized the vision of Rwanda is to be clean. So let me go into gas. It required a lot of capital, but I wanted to try.
Rwanda's government is welcoming refugees, giving them access to loans and work. They are also offered support by the private sector through consulting firms like Inkomoko, which works with the United Nations Refugee Agency to train refugee entrepreneurs. Since the program started in 2016, it's worked with more than 3,000 refugees.
There have to be a political will. In Rwanda, it has been easy because the country has signed up for the refugee economic inclusion.
For Iriwaku, her business is a new lease on life, and she can't help but smile these days. Business has grown, and she now employs 5 other people.
Well, that is on the program today. Thank you for watching. I'm Edidion Iwang.